through. How are your friendships in your life? Are you happy with them? How high do you rate them? How low do you rate them? Are you in a place where you are debating whether you should end a friendship? Are you in a place where you're starting new friendships? Everyone, welcome to another episode of Bidun Sukkar, where talks are unfiltered and not sugar-coated. So today's episode will be a little bit improvised because I didn't prep for it as I usually do. I changed it last minute. But it's been a topic that's been on my mind for a bit. As you know me, I'll always talk about something that's bothering me. It's about friendships. And I'll be the first to say I'm really bad at friendships. And I don't know if it's in Dubai or me or whatever it is, but I know that, or I learned to know that in next 9 to 12 to 18 months, my friendship circles will not look the same. I don't know if that's growth or not, or toxicity. I'm not sure, but I know that I learned, and it disappoints me. It really does. And I don't like admitting to it, and I don't like it, but it disappoints me. But I think what I've noticed recently is what the hell happened to people? As in, why do we have one-way friendships and one-way communication? Is it me, or is it just people are talking to you in a one-way method? As in, what I'm trying to say, I can see a friend for 2-3 hours and it's all about them the entire time with no, how are you really? Like, how are you doing? What's going on with this? What's going on with that? And I'm call me old-fashioned, but if someone didn't ask how I'm doing, I'm not going to tell them how I'm doing, without having a window for it. Is it that people have changed in a way where they just talk and talk, and they expect you, if you have something to say, you will just say it? But I'm not going to interrupt someone, especially if it's an important topic, and just talk about me. I've been finding that happening a lot, and it's bothering me so much that I'm here to talk about friendships and boundaries between friendships and friends, close and not close, and the consent element. I know consent is usually reserved to sexual violation, but consent is much bigger than that. And if you've been following the page, I've been writing about permission and consent a little bit. And it's something that came up from my own personal life and the friendships that I've been leading. And it's been really bothering me, and I've been having a lot of debates about it. So first of all, what is going on? Like, why are we having conversations that are just about the other person and offloading and dumping on the other person? Don't we understand that people have mental capacities, have limitations of what they want to talk about, have what they can talk about and can handle? I'm not saying don't go to your friend or feel like you are a burden or any of that, but I think there is the need to ask for someone's time, to ask for their permission, to ask if they can handle what you're going to talk to them about, I know, like, everyone goes through things and all of that, but the world is not an easy place right now. We are in really, really, really tough times, and everyone is going through something. And the more you're getting older, we're all in our mid-30s, mid-40s, like, life is a little bit tougher and more serious than it is. So, I don't have time to talk at random hours of the day to talk about what's going on with you all the time. I would love to. We can put some time together, but you have to ask me, hey, do you have the time? Do you have the mental capacity? Are you free so I can speak to you? I'm more than willing to do it, but just ask for time. And also, the more I'm getting older, or also maybe we can blame it on Zoom fatigue. I hate phone calls. I don't want to answer a phone call. Please check with me if I can talk. Send me a voice note. I will listen to a 15-minute voice note. I have don't mind. I just don't like the immediacy that phone calls request from me right now. And again, I'm the kind of person who has 7 to 8 calls a day. I'm tired. I want a break. I want to be able to choose. And also, I was that friend who was always there all the time. And that's wrong. That I didn't put boundaries on myself and on my time. So now I'm trying to retrieve that back. So now I will intentionally not look at my phone. I will intentionally not answer back. but it's just because I need to return to take that time for myself, you know. Another thing is, and I will admit it, I was a toxic friend. We were all the toxic friends, you know. We all have been that bad person or that person who wasn't there enough for their people and all of that. So I will admit it. So for those people, I do apologize for being a toxic friend. I think we're all doing some growth in some way or learning. But I don't know what to do anymore with the friendships that I'm having or social connections, not necessarily friendships, the social connections that I'm having. I'm a bit stumped in this topic, and I don't know how to move forward. There's a study that said that COVID had an impact on friendships, and I believe in it. I think COVID forced us to choose our bubbles, choose our friends that were worth risking our lives for or our time. And I think that put everyone in different places. And I definitely ended friendships, and some people ended friendships with me. Sad to say, but I think it just accelerated that process. And another thing else that I read recently is that COVID made us less empathetic, less willing to put more time for people, and we became a little bit more self-involved. Do you think that you are going through that? Is that happening to you or your friends? But that's all really interesting. I think we really undermine what COVID did to us and to our friendships and how that made us frame things and see people and treat them. But also, do we blame social media on how people speak to us? Because I believe that social media also changed the way you catch up with someone, because you see their life on display, right? So how do you speak about things without people telling you, oh yeah, I already saw it. Oh yeah, I already know. And is that why it turned out into one-way conversations and one-way friendships that people just dump on you and offload and then they walk away and they disappear and they don't even ask how you're doing? Am I being wrong for not imposing and saying how I'm doing or telling them? Should I ask people to ask me? I don't know. Tell me. Like, I'm really, really frustrated with this. And, I would love to say, oh, I don't need people. I don't need friends. But that's also a trauma response. Everyone needs friends. Everyone needs people. Everyone needs social connections. Actually, another study has found that the reason people live long is not good health only or good habits. It's social inclusion. It's believing that you fit in, is that you have a community. We are social beings. We survive based on our social connection to an extent. Like the quality of your social connections will impact the quality of your life. And this is something I've been trying to explore with myself, with my therapist, with my friends, to understand, like, when do we put boundaries? What kind of boundaries? Do we respect them? How do we respect them? How do we make sure that we're not imposing on someone else? How do we really confront our friends without hurting their feelings or being understanding enough to know where they come from? Do you take the time to understand why people react the way we react? We are all wounded people. Wounded people are talking to other wounded people. So when someone overreacts, do we give them the time of day to understand where do they come from? Do we ask them, like, hey, why did this hurt you so much? Why did you behave this way? Or why did you do this? And are we open to receive questions like that? And should we be open to receive questions like that? Should our friends have a say on what happens to us? Are our friends a good advice givers or advisors to us? Is it a good thing that we change friends? Should we change friends? I have so many questions and I have no answer to them because it could be a long debate. It could be a good thing or a bad thing. I think one thing I learned is to embrace the friendship that you have now and to know when it has to end. And no one really speaks about breaking up with a friend and how much it's painful and how we undermine it, because we miss them. And I miss all the people that I don't speak to anymore. I miss them a lot, but I also learned I can live without them or they can live without me. And just because you love someone doesn't mean they're good for you. There are people I walked out from because I couldn't be there when they were being abused, or I couldn't be there listening to them going on and on something they don't want to fix. And maybe because I'm someone who is more solution oriented or want to fix something, I just can't sit still. So I don't know how to be a friend watching someone who doesn't live their truth or are not true to themselves. And that makes me maybe a bad friend. I've been told a lot of things like, oh, you just say it the way it is, or you're not mindful with your words. Yeah, I'm not. And that's the kind of friend you'll get. So, or people told me I'm too negative. Yeah, I've gone through a lot of things. I go through depression and anxiety and I will not hide it. So if you're uncomfortable with my negativity, you're uncomfortable with what I bring, that also says a lot about you. And yes, I should be more mindful of who I am and how I am behaving. But then it's a very complex thing that I think people don't speak enough about it and are not comfortable to speak enough about it. And I think we should make space about it. One thing a friend told me a few years ago, she just ended her marriage at that time. And we were talking about the importance of friendships. We're still friends. And we both believe that your soulmate can be a friend and shouldn't be just a partner. And we both believe that those relationships are very important. And I think the way we are groomed to believe that having a partner is your end game, that we undermine friendships. We both wonder, what if the rest of the world also put the same importance that they put in finding a partner and maintaining a partner, they put that importance into finding friends and maintaining friendships? How would the world look like? Especially for women who prioritize family and partners. Women do it more than men. We know that. Is that the right thing to do? Because we're finding that, relationships end, marriages end, but usually your friendships can last a long time, a lifetime. Do we give them that TLC? Do we give them that attention? Do we give them the honesty? And do we work through resentment? Because friendships gather resentment. We do. We don't talk about it, but we do. I recently told a friend, a very good friend of mine, who we went through things that we shouldn't have gone through, and we didn't work them through. He was one of the friends who did not stand with me when I went through some of the hardest times of my life. And I realized that the idea he has about me is not the idea that I agree with, but he has it for a reason. It was more of a, you are negative, you're this, you're that. So I talked to him recently and I told him I took an active step back from our friendship because I'm not happy with the narrative you had about me, And he was, I think, a little bit surprised. And I told him, I was like, I think we held on to resentments that we built on together and we should work through. And he was also surprised by that. But we undermine the things we go through as friends, We undermine what people say to us and about us and what we say to them and about them. I think we take some friendships for granted, but we shouldn't. They should be treated the way we treat partners, from an importance perspective. They deserve apologies. They deserve realizations. You can rekindle something, you can end something, and you should end something, or you could restart something. You could reach out and give them the apology that they never heard. So yeah, I feel like I'm just rambling and ranting, but it's been weighing on me a lot. And I think I'm kind of an extrovert, so I do get energy from being with people. I love being with people. I mean, my podcast is for people and about people. And I enjoy being with them, but I feel like I've been going through a lot of low quality people for a while. Not low quality people, that's really unfair. Low quality connections. I have some who are amazing, who are there for me, and I really truly embrace that, and I'm grateful for them. But I just feel like I'm not having these fulfilling connections lately, and I don't know if you guys are going through the same thing. I don't know if it's COVID, I don't know if it's getting older, I don't know if it's because we have less time for them. As you grow older, it's harder to make friends, or you have smaller and smaller circles. But also, I don't know if you guys saw the same thing, but social media has been showing a lot of content about having a small circle. People are backstabbers. Keep it to yourself. Be your authentic self, put yourself first, which are good messages, but are we doing too much of it? Are we turning into the narcissistics that we're warning the world from? Are we turning that and are we using and abusing growth where I'm putting myself first? But no, you should also commit to people, honor the commitments that you make. If you're gonna be there for someone, be there for them. If you don't know how to be there for someone, tell them that. Be honest with them, because people will see things differently, and it's not always about you. It's not. But I'm not saying betray yourself, but just be open and honest. I don't know. Share with me what you think. What do you say? What are you going through? How are your friendships in your life? Are you happy with them? How high do you rate them? How low do you rate them? Are you in a place where you are debating whether you should end a friendship? Are you in a place where you're starting new friendships? You know, now I am aware when I start a friendship, and I do wonder how it's gonna go how it's gonna go, yeah, how it's gonna turn into. So I learned to embrace them, but I also learned to know when to quit it, and it's okay if people lose touch. You know, one thing I will say that social media did make it easier for people to stay connected even if they're not fully connected, which I'm grateful for, because the world is really demanding at this moment. It's hard to give attention to everything and everyone. But yeah, where are you now when it comes to friendships? Let me know. And thank you for tuning in. I will speak to you very soon.